Okay, good evening, everyone. Just a quick sound check. Can everybody hear and see me okay? Just 1 second here. Okay, great. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Gary. Awesome. Thank you, Fez. Where's everybody from tonight? Where's everybody joining us from? Hi, Doug. I know where you're from. Good to see you online tonight. Fez, good to see you from Germany. Jim C. from Hamilton, good to see you. Gary is in Tasmania, Australia. Awesome. Good to see you, Gary. Thanks for joining us. Brian Hendricks from SC. Great to see you, Brian. Thank you. Mark from New Mexico. Awesome. So this is starting to become a global thing. Great to see everybody joining us tonight. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get started. For those that don't know, we are hosting this event, but we will not be presenting tonight. Our friends from Alera Trading will be presenting tonight. So let's get started. So sorry for the disclaimers right at the start, everyone, but it needs to be said. Trading and investing can contain significant financial risks. This presentation and all references are subject to the disclaimers as posted on our website at systematic-investors.com, and as well as the Alera Trading disclaimers at aleratrading.com, and the disclaimers posted on both our sites. So please take a moment to visit and read through the disclaimers on both respective websites before considering use of either of our services and software. All traders and self-directed investors are always responsible for managing their own risk and making their own financial decisions. So please use all information, again, presented at your own risk. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us live tonight. This presentation will be recorded for those that can't make it, have to leave early, or those that just want to study the information in more detail. We encourage you to share this presentation with your trading friends so that they can better understand that there's a new technology that will help them exploit their edges, be consistent, and just have a better chance to succeed in these shark-infested waters that we call markets. For those that don't know me, my name is Dave DeMarcantonio from Systematic Investors Group. Tonight, we've invited our friends and technology providers and partners at Alera Trading to join us. The team at Systematic Investors Group and I are very happy to specifically welcome Alex Rida tonight. Alex is the creator of Alera Portfolio Manager, or what we call APM for short, and heads the development team over at Alera Trading. We're very excited to have Alex join us tonight, as we were beta testers for the APM software. Most of us at Systematic Investors Group, including myself, have been using it ever since for our own systematic stock trading and investment. Since the beta release, the software has been going through such rapid development that it's even hard for beta users like myself to keep up with everything that it can do now. And that's why we've asked Alex to join us tonight. Tonight, Alex will share how the software works, why it was developed, and who it's for, some use case demonstrations. He'll update us on new developments, and you'll have a chance at the end to ask him anything related to APM. So without further ado, I'm happy to welcome to the virtual stage Alex Rida from Alera Trading to present on the super useful and time-saving Alera Portfolio Manager software. So just give us a quick moment while I pass the screen and mic to Alex, and we do a quick sound check. Okay, Alex, can you, are
can
you
you
there?
hear me?
Yes, perfect. Can
Okay.
everyone else online hear Alex okay?
Okay, so there's my screen.
Okay, great. Fez says yes. Marcel says yes. Good evening, Marcel. Brian says yes. Okay, great. I'm gonna mute myself, Alex, and just holler if you need me.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and thank you to everyone for showing up tonight. So I'm going to be going over the Alera Portfolio Manager, kind of what it is, what it does. And at the end, I'm going to have a demo, which is going to let you get a better look into it. And as well, on top of that, we're going to have some questions at the end that you can ask. Okay, so first, a disclaimer. It's pretty much what Dave said. Just to add on top of it, we are a technology company, not a trading firm. So use our technology at your own risk. Okay, so first, some background on Alera Trading. So in 2016, we started with developing custom algorithmic trading systems for retail and corporate investors. So that means building out the signal generation as well as the signal processing and actual execution. So just full systems that are completely automated. And in about 2017, we realized that there are a lot of platforms out there that do the signal generation, but there is a lack of platforms that do the execution properly and do it well. So we thought that we would join that market. And in November 2018, we released our first version, which had a lot of the basic features. And then in about a year later, we released version 2, which had the big feature of the Alera API, as well as international stock markets, which were the Australian stock market and the Indian stock market. And then we're about to release version 3 in a couple weeks from now. And version 3 will have FX and crypto trading, which is a big deal for us. And it kind of signifies our expansion to more markets. And on top of that, we're committed to adding things like futures and options in the future. Okay, so I guess what is Alera? I have here a screenshot from our website. I'll read that out for you. I think it's a very good summary of what we do, and then I'll go into some more detail. So the Alera Portfolio Manager provides traders a way to automate the trading system by processing trade signals and or stock screeners. These trade signals can be created by the users themselves or be pulled from online providers. APM gives users full control over how they would like to manage their position sizing, their risk, and their trading strategies. Traders now have the ability to improve the speed, efficiency, and accuracy of their trading through a software that ensures consistent and reliable portfolio management. And now I want to talk quickly about the philosophy of how our trading is done. So we like to call it signal agnostic trading. So that means that the signals are generated separately from the portfolio. So whoever's generating the signals does not need to know what's in the portfolio or what orders there are. And the reason that is because of the way we design the way signals are processed in Alera. There's more than just buy and sell signals, as you'll see later on. And this is very useful because a lot of people will want to be using signals that are developed by and published by other strategy developers. So those strategy developers like SIG won't actually know what your portfolio looks like. So there's a big need for this kind of separation that we have. Okay, and now before I get into how Alera works, I want to go over what the typical investment process looks like and how Alera will work on top of that. So I've divided into 3 steps. So step 1 is discovery. So that is setting up some trading criteria and using those criteria to find opportunities to invest in, and then ranking those opportunities. And you might want to rank them because you might find that you don't have enough funds to pursue all those opportunities. You might only be able to pursue a couple of them. So having a preference for them helps in making investment decisions. The second part is position management. So position management is generally the part where you take those opportunities, you convert them into orders, and you decide how your portfolio is going to change based on what opportunities you find, and you decide what orders will go in. And then on top of that, you also have to manage your existing positions and figure out when to exit and how to manage your risk. The third step is execution, which is always handled by the broker. So that's just order execution and the broker itself providing portfolio and order updates. So the way automation kind of fits on top of this is the discovery process is handled either by strategy developers and signal providers like SIG, for example, or it's handled by yourself through tools like AmiBroker, or even you can make your own Python scripts, for example. So those signals are generated, and then those are passed into Alera, and Alera does the position management aspect. So that is taking your signals, creating orders, deciding how to size them, deciding which ones to take. And another key feature of it is the fact that you can run more than one strategy in the same account. So suppose one strategy pulls signals from a signal provider like SIG, and a different strategy pulls signals from a local source like AmiBroker. You can run that all together in one account. And the third part is handled by the broker. In this case, Alera works with IB Gateway or Interactive Brokers. We're planning on adding more brokers in the future, but for now, Interactive Brokers is our main broker. Okay, so just some key elements. So the first one, which I've already mentioned, is the ability to pick up and process buy, sell, and other signals. So I'll give you a couple examples of other signals that you can kind of process and how they kind of fit into our whole philosophy. So the first one here is buy to open. So the idea behind a buy to open signal is the idea that if you don't have a position in a stock, then buy to open will open a position. However, if you already have a position, then that position will not be changed because you already have it. Fairly simple, but it prevents things like order duplication and accidentally buying twice as many positions as you want. Because as you can see, if you just get a buy signal, then you might buy it. If you get a buy signal twice, you may buy a position twice. But if you get buy to open twice, you only run it once. There's also long. So long generally means that you want to hit a certain target, I guess, position. So for example, suppose you have a signal that says long 400 shares of Apple, and you're currently long 100 shares of Apple. So then the idea is that Alera should know to go and say, okay, well, the difference is 300 shares, so we should buy 300 shares of Apple. And there's some other ones here, which you'll see them being used in the demo after. And the next key element is the ability to perform portfolio level management of positions with multiple custom position sizing options and automated stop loss and target profit orders. So the custom position sizing refers to the ability to size your orders according to what you think is best if you decide to do that. So for example, if your portfolio is much smaller than the portfolio of someone who's generating those signals, you don't have to worry about that. You can create custom options and kind of decide how big you want each trade to be. And on top of that, the signal providers themselves can decide, okay, well, I want my client to invest 20% of their portfolio into this stock, which adds a lot more flexibility and kind of removes the need to know anything about portfolio sizes. And then the next thing is that Alera can act as the oh, that's a spelling mistake. Okay, well, either way, so Alera can do the scheduling, automation, and communication of external programs. So that is basically the ability to go and say, let's run AmiBroker externally, get those signals, and then Alera will know to be able to run AmiBroker, pick up those signals, and then execute them. So it kind of acts as a central hub for all your applications in your trading workflow and puts it all together into one really functional and really simple workflow that gets you from generating signals to executing them and managing all your positions. Okay, and I guess these are the two main takeaways that you should be aware of. So one is that APM doesn't suffer from synchronization issues. So this means that you don't have to worry about your positions in your portfolio not matching the signals created by a signal provider, because as those signals come in, Alera will either adjust to match them or you won't be in the market. And the majority of the time, you will be matching the signal provider signals. And then the other thing to note is that we can get signals from various sources. So you can get signals from text files, CSV files, which would be from your local computer. You can have AmiBroker generate those kinds of files that Alera can process, and you can get signals from the web. So for example, from SIG, and actually SIG shares their signals through Google Drive. Yeah, so I always like to tell people that I think Alera can do anything. So if you have a use case that you're wondering about, please tell us, and we can tell you how you can use APM to achieve your goals. Okay, and now I'm going to go over quickly who is this for. So it's for investors and traders that have a rules-based system that is not open to interpretation. So that means a system that you could, in theory, go and program, and it would give you the same decision every single time with those same conditions. And it's for any retail traders and funds that either want to generate their own signals or want to subscribe to signals from other people. And I guess that on top of this, it's also for people who want to go and generate and distribute their signals. So yeah, okay. And then three more things. So it's also for those that want order entry and exit automation in order to save time and reduce order entry mistakes, but do not want the complexity of broker integration. Broker integration is very challenging, so it's something that you can forego with APM and allow it to do all that for you while you focus on your strategies and on the stuff that's actually more important to being a successful trader than dealing with the complexities of broker integration. It's also for those who want to be more systematic, consistent, and improve their efficiency with semi or full automation. And it's also for those who want to participate in the markets but don't want to sit in front of the computer and watch the markets all day. Okay, and now I'm going to briefly go over what semi-automation is and what full automation is. It's should be fairly short. So semi-automation is basically the ability to view your orders before they go in the market, and the ability to accept which orders you want to take and reject the orders you don't want to take. And that idea is just so, suppose you don't really trust your trading strategy that much, you can let APM show you what it's going to trade, and you can use your judgment to decide which orders will go through. And then there is full automation, which basically skips that process and lets APM take your signals and put them all in the market without you having to worry about anything. Okay, and some just more reasons to semi or fully automate. So like I mentioned before, it's available at crucial decision times. So suppose you want to make all your trades at 3:40, but you got to do something at 3:40 p.m. Alera will be there and it'll be able to put your signals in. It also, with the semi-automation option, it lets you maintain control, 100% control over which signals to execute. You also have speed and consistency with Alera. You can act quickly upon your signals, and you can make sure that there aren't any mistakes on them. There's automatic position sizing, like I mentioned before, so you don't need to manually calculate anything. That's all done for you. And there's also takes out the aspect of hesitation when trading or investing. You know that you're following your back-tested system and you're following it correctly. And I guess one of the biggest points here is the fact that automation lets you trade a much larger set of assets. So manually, you're limited maybe to 15 or at most 20 assets in one day if you really work hard at it. But with Alera, you can keep track of hundreds of assets and kind of figure out exactly which ones you want to trade. And this also allows you to diversify and reduce risk. Okay, so now I want to do a demo. So I recorded a few demos since the market's not open right now. I will do one live demo using Google Drive, but we needed the market to be open to do a couple of these demos. So I'll go and run one of those right now. So the first demo, just to preface it, is a basic intro to or a basic example with Alera. So let's open that. And let me know if you can't hear it. So this is the first use case we're going to demo with Alera. So this demo is going to deal with asset allocation, and it's going to be using the file system in Alera, which is I guess the most basic way you can send signals. And we're going to be following this portfolio right here. So it's called the Ray Dalio All Weather Portfolio, and it's fairly simple. So what it does is it holds a constant 30% in VTI, 40% in TLT, 15% in IEI, 7.5% in gold, and 7.5% in GSG. And I've gotten those signals written down here. So this is the file that Alera is going to use. And as you can see, I've replicated the values here. And the signals are relatively simple. So you have long, VTI, 30% portfolio, and the rest of them are like that as well. So first thing is to click order preview here so that we can actually view what orders Alera will put in. And as you can see, we have buy and then quantity 183 VTI and so on for the rest of them. And one thing to note is that our portfolio is reallocated over here, $100,000 USD. So that means that we should expect 30K VTI, 40K TLT, and so on. And so once we've done our order preview, we can close it and then we can run our strategy here. And then we can see the positions coming in live like that. And now when we look at our value, we can actually see that the value of each position is what we expected, almost exactly, because we can't buy a fractional number of shares. But as you can see, GLD, which is 7.5K, GSG 7.5K, TLT 40K, VTI 30K. So it's all approximately correct here. And this is kind of the idea behind this. So it's generally just a rebalancing strategy. So if we decide to run this rebalancing every week, we can look at our scheduler here. So the scheduler is already set to run at 9 a.m. every Monday. And it uses this cron string to do the scheduling. So it looks a little bit complicated, but you can learn it fairly simply. And then we also have documentation on it on our website. So if you open up, if you hover over here, you can see the dates that it'll run at. So it tells you at 9 a.m. only on Monday, and it says August 3rd, 9 a.m., August 10, 9 a.m., August 17, 9 a.m. So that's kind of what the schedule is, and that's how you would be able to schedule to run every Monday. So now suppose that we decide to run our file again. You'll notice that if we look in our strategy log, that there were actually no orders placed, so the positions didn't change, and that's because we didn't change our allocation of our portfolio, and the prices didn't move much in the last couple minutes. So that tells us that we can run this again by accident, or we can run it again in a little bit from now, and it won't really change our portfolio. One thing we can do, though, to demo portfolio changes, we can change the allocation. So say here we want to change it to 5% and 10%, and we save it. Now we do order preview, and now you'll notice that it'll actually put new orders in. So it's going to sell 14 GLD because we decreased our allocation, and it's going to buy 233 GSG because we increased our allocation. Yeah, so we can go and run that and see the changes occur here. And now you'll see that GSG is at 10,000 US dollars and GLD is at around 5,000 US dollars, as we expected. And you might also be wondering what will happen day to day. So suppose you run this every day, and you run it at 7.5% every day, but you don't want to be trading $10 or $20 worth of stock because it's not worth the commission, and there's no point in trading it. You can actually go here and in this order limits, and then you can change the min order value to some number. So for example, you could change it to 5,000 USD or 1,000 USD, and that'll make sure that you only place orders that are over that amount. And that way you can kind of keep your rebalancing in check if you decide to run it more often. And you might also be wondering, well, why would I do this with Alera when I can just do it manually? And something simple like this is very doable manually, but when you run into more positions that you want to hold, and when you also want to run multiple strategies at the same time, it becomes very time consuming to go and do every single position manually. And you have to go and compute, oh, exactly how much do I want to trade? Do I want to do this or that? Alera does it as accurately as possible, and it gets everything correct every time. And you also don't have to remember to run it. It'll run by itself as long as you set up the scheduler. So those are the main advantages. And once again, this is a very simple example of the most basic thing you can do with Alera in a rebalancing strategy. So keep that in mind as we move forward, that we'll get into more and more complicated applications. So this is the first use case for, okay, yes, so that concludes that first demo. I guess right now, if you have any questions about the demo or any quick questions, I can take a look at the chat as well. It's not popping up for me though. There it is. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, otherwise I will continue with the next demo. I'll give it a few seconds. That's a good one, Dave. All right, so the next one, I want to preface it just with just telling you a little bit about how you would go about using the screener in Alera for doing rotational strategies. So rotational strategy would mean that you pick, say every week you'd pick a set of 10 stocks and you'd rotate through those 10 stocks every week, and they would as they change every week, you would change your positions. So you can definitely do this with Alera and using the Alera screener. So what you see on your screen right here is a website that does screening for you. So FinViz, the screener I've chosen here is relatively simple, but you can pick a bunch of different fundamental and technical indicators and that kind of stuff to do your screener. And then you can use that in Alera. So the demo is just going to start off there and demonstrate how you go about doing that and show you what happens live with it. Okay. This example here, what I've taken is some mid caps that had the highest dividend yield, over 5%, and I sorted them by the dividend yield. So we have 13 stocks here, and I'm only going to buy the first 10. So what we'll do is we'll take the URL here, we're going to copy it, we will paste it into this field here. I will click save, And then I can run order preview here to view what's going to happen. So there we go. So these are the 10 stocks that we're going to buy. And one thing you should note that's different from the last demo is that our strategy allocation now, instead of it being 100K USD, it's 10% of the portfolio, so which is 76K. That can be kind of up to your discretion if you want to allocate 10% of your portfolio or a fixed amount of money. The main difference here, though, is that we have this thing called custom lot size, which is actually used for the screener because the screener doesn't provide how much they want to trade. It just tells you which stocks you want to trade, which ones you want to buy, and which ones you want to sell. So this tells you actually how much you want to allocate to every position. So it would make sense that we would allocate 10% of our strategy. So if our strategy is 76K, we allocate about 7.6K per stock, which is 10%. And the reason we chose 10% is because if we want to hold 10 positions, it makes sense to only to hold exactly 10% per position. So let's go and take this and actually run it live. So now it is running, and you'll see the positions pop up here. There we go. So here's all 10, and you'll notice that the value is about 7.6K for all of them, as expected. And what we can do from here is look at the cases where, suppose the next day the screener changes, we'll want to be able to switch out our positions or to rotate them. So we can go back to this one. So I think I may have reset. Can you still hear me? I want to make sure that it's still. So now I want to demo how you would. Okay. Yeah, great. I didn't catch the timestamp we were at when it stopped. If anyone remembers what timestamp it was at, I can resume it from there. Okay, thank you. So now I want to demo how you would go about implementing kind of which ones you want to buy and which ones you want to switch out our positions or to rotate them. So we can go back to this one. So okay, let me just reopen this file. Yeah, sorry about those technical difficulties. I think it's just because I opened the file yesterday and it seems to be having some trouble. Okay, there we go. So is yeah, that is really so now strange. I want to, and you'll notice that the value, yeah, it seems to be stuck at 3 actually. Okay, so let's try to get back to this a little bit later. I'm going to jump into the next demo, and then I'll work on this on my end to try to fix that. Okay, so let's go over Google Drive. So this is for people who are interested in trying to get signals from someone else and trying to kind of load them on their computer and then run them through Alera. So this example is going to be through Google Drive, and as some of you may know, SIG provides signals through Google Drive. So this is actually their Google Drive for the supercharged momentum trend strategy, which they showcased last week. And I'm going to show you how you can get these free signals. So first, before I show you anything else, let's go to their website here. So systematicinvestors.com. You can go to contact, click on request access to strategy scan signals for APM, and then you can fill out your information here. And once you do that, Dave will give you access to the Google Drive. And once you have access, you can go and copy this folder ID here. Oops. and then you can paste it into Alera, click save, and then then you can click this little file icon, and this will actually load the Google Drive files. So these are the two files in your drive, and there's a sell.sig, buy.sig. So they've decided to split the buy and sell signals up. You don't have to do this yourself, but this is an option, and these are in a CSV format here. Okay, so then we can click on order preview, and we can see the orders coming in. It'll take a few seconds since I believe that they have very many sell signals. And those each need to be processed to make sure that the portfolio doesn't contain those positions. So there you go. So in this case, there were only 10 buy signals. So those ones showed up here. And then we can actually go and run this as well. And then you can see those running in. So it'll take a little bit of time to run. And then we can see them filling up in our portfolio. So these haven't executed because these are market on open orders. So they'll execute tomorrow morning. And this strategy is actually designed to run in the outside of market hours. And yeah, okay. So let's go and show you one more thing with related to these strategies. So you can go to the website again, go to resources, free daily trade ideas. So once again, this is one of their free strategies. And then we can go to here, APM strategy settings. And then these are the settings that they use for their strategies. Your settings don't have to be the same necessarily, but there are a few things you should be aware of. So for example, the Google folder ID should be correct, obviously. You can schedule it whenever you want, but like I said, this is designed to run outside of market hours, so 9 a.m. Makes sense here. And then they also have their strategy allocation here. So this one, generally this main one doesn't need a match, but the custom lot size does need to match because in their case, they have 20 signals or 20 positions capped. So that means that each position can be at most 5%, otherwise they'll go over, your portfolio will be over 100% of what you allocated to the strategy. So just keep that in mind. And I think that's about it for this. So it's actually fairly simple. So if you're looking to get signals from Google Drive and you can find someone who provides them through Google Drive, you can simply just go and copy the folder and Alera can process those signals. And as a strategy developer, if you want to share your signals, then you can go and share them through Google Drive by sharing specific folders with certain people. And it works really well. And I think it's a great way to share signals. And as you saw, it works great. It's really quick. And I think this feature where you can view the folders to make sure that that everything is correctly in place is also great. Okay, so since that previous demo didn't work, which I will try to fix, let's jump to the final demo here, which I really hope will work. So let's make this full screen and run this. So this is just to preface this. So this is going to be a demo of the more advanced features in the software. So you'll see a lot of more complicated things and the more advanced things you can do with the software. So now I'd like to demo some more advanced uses of Alera and some more advanced features. First, I want to go over the Alera API. So the Alera API is a HTTP REST API that allows you to put in signals programmatically and have them executed immediately. So as soon as they reach the software. The idea behind this is to allow a lot of flexibility for users in how they want to implement their system, and also kind of remove the need for a scheduler if somebody wants to instantaneously put their orders through. So so here you can see a PowerShell window. So if you don't know what this is, that's okay. What this is, it's a piece of code that connects to the Alera API and input signals. So you can write something similar to this if you want in a different language. Or you can incorporate the same ideas in a Python script that runs your strategy for you. So this is just my interface to it that I will show you. So I guess the first use case I want to go over that's more complicated than something that I showed you before would be the idea of being able to enter positions in the morning using a limit order and exiting all your positions at market on close. So there's the two caveats to this kind of strategy is one, since you want market on close orders, they have to be placed before 3:45 p.m. And number two, since you're placing a limit order to enter the position, you only want to place the market orders if a limit order went through. But this also means that since the market orders have to be placed before 3:45 p.m., you have to actually cancel those limit orders before 3:45 p.m. so that it makes sense. And in order to achieve this, we have a few different features in Alera that will allow you to do something like this. So let me demo the first one. So we can type in RSN Google, and we'll see ID 10. So RSN is an order type that stands for reset to neutral, and it lets us automatically put an order to close the position once we have a position for that ticker. So in this case, we have RSN for Google, and then we tell it that we want to place an order for market on close, and we provide an ID because for certain order types, we need IDs to prevent order duplication. So we write that, we click enter, and then we see here in our portfolio that we're neutral Google right now, but we have an order to RSN for MOC. Great. So the next step is to actually put a limit order for Google. So right now we will put this limit order, and I will explain what's going on in a second. Okay, so what we see here is buy to open Google limit 1300. So the current price of Google is about 1500. So this limit order won't trigger. But the idea is that if you do put a limit order that may or may not trigger, you don't know if it's going to trigger. So you can put it in the market, but we want to cancel it at 3:40 p.m. So what this says here, GTD stands for the time in force, and it's good until date. So it's good until the date of 2020-07-28, which is today, July 28th, until 3:40 p.m. EST. So we enter that in, and then now we have an order here entered into the market. This order won't go through, but to simulate it going through, I can just type in buy to open Google market. So this will automatically replace the existing order with a market order and run that in. And now you see that the RSN order here is actually going to disappear, and now it actually converts to a sell order. So on MOC. So we bought 10 positions of Google or 10 shares, and now we're going to sell those 10 shares market on close. So yeah, it's actually pretty simple in the end, and these kind of order types allow you to be able to process your signals once in the morning and set yourself up for the entire day to exit all your positions when the market closes. Okay, so next I want to show you some I guess other features which are related to hedging and kind of allocating cash. So these are kind of less commonly used, but they are interesting, and it is worth showing. So first, let's open two positions. So we'll go $10,000 long in Apple. So that will buy 26 shares of Apple. And then we'll go 50 shares long of IBM. Okay. And now in total, we have 15,000 plus about 10,000 plus about 6,000. So that's going to be $31,000 in total exposure that we are long. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to place a order. So I'll explain this in 1 second. Okay, so HWE stands for hedge with exposure. And SH is going to be the ProShares short SPX ETF. So, or short S&P 500. So the idea is that what's happening here is hedge with exposure means that we're taking our current exposure, which is $31,000, and we're hedging SH with it. So that means we're going to go long SH because we're long currently $31,000, and we're going to go 50% of that. So that means we expect to be about $15,500 long once we run this order. So let's do that. And now we will see we're $15,601 long. So that's one way you can hedge. So the advantage of this is that it basically lets you take your current exposure and apply some kind of and buy or sell some other ticker to kind of hedge with it. So the next thing that someone might be interested in doing is allocating their excess cash. So what we provided is a unit type called percent cash. So we can go long TLT 50% cash. So what this will do is it'll let us allocate 50% of our free cash to TLT. So what that means is that it's going to take whatever free cash we have, excuse me. So TLT is basically a bond ETF. So what we're going to do is, if we go 50% cash, we're going to allocate 50% of our remaining cash to TLT. So let's run that, and then it'll go and do that. And then how is the remaining cash calculated? Well, here we had $46,000 worth of long exposure, and if we go here, we were about $46,000. We have 76,000 in the portfolio, 30,000 left over. 50% of cash is going to be 15,000. So that's why we see about 15,000 here, approximately. Okay, great. So that covers that. And now I want to demo some other stuff. So let me go and actually close these positions. Okay. And now I'm going to demo actually going short. So someone might want to go short. In this case, we'll demo something simple. So we can go short Apple 100 shares. So what that's going to do is it's going to take our Apple position and make us short 100 shares. Simple enough. And now suppose we go long IBM again. And we want to close our position in IBM. So one thing we can do is we can use different kinds of order types. So for example, we can use a stop limit order. So in this case, the stop limit order has a stop price of 100 and a limit price of 95. So we can place that order and it'll show up here. And now suppose we want to change our limit price to 105, we can enter that and now it'll jump to 105 over here. Great. And the last thing I want to demo now is the another kind of feature. Now suppose you want to increase your position. So you have your position size could be something and you want to increase it by 50% for whatever reason. And this is generally best used by signal providers. So suppose you're getting your signals from someone who doesn't know what your portfolio size might be. They might say, oh, well, let's go long this position an extra 50%. So what we can do is we can go here, we can type in add to long Google 50% position ID 11 NRC. So what this is doing essentially is it's saying add to long. So it's adding to your long position in Google by 50% of what you already own. So if we already own 10 shares and I'm buying 5 more shares, which would bring me up to 15 shares of Google. And the reason that we need and it's an MLC order, so that's why you still see it here, because it's marked on close, so it hasn't been executed yet. And the ID is necessary because if you place this order twice by accident, you're going to buy twice as many shares as you want. So the ID is there to prevent duplication. Okay, next I want to demo the risk manager. So if we go back to our settings, we can enable stop loss orders, so say 5%. And then within the next 10 seconds, we are going to see an order to sell our Google shares. So what this is going to do is the risk manager is a way to manage our stop and target orders. So if we lose a lot of money or if we make a lot of money and we want to make sure that we exit or automatically exit positions without having to manually put orders in, this is what APM can do, and this is one of the advanced options. So in this case, what we're basically doing is I put a stop order for 5%. So what it's doing is it puts a stop order in the market, and it puts it for 5% below the current price, and it's going to sell all 10 shares. Now, one cool thing is that if this order were to execute, for example, so let's change our position size in Google. So let's go long 15. Let's go long Google 15 shares, like that. Okay, so if we do that, what's going to happen is that our position will change. So it became 15. But now you'll notice that we're actually going to be selling 15 shares once the risk manager gets a chance to do the update. So give it a few seconds. Great. So now it changed to 15. And now suppose we want to go long Google 10 shares, and then let's put a limit price so that it doesn't execute, but it shows up in the market. I made a spelling mistake here. Great. So we have our sell order. Okay, so it's not accepting it. Right. So that actually would have executed immediately. Let's see what happened here. So I actually do not think that, yeah, so IB did not accept the order. So let's go back and actually, since we're selling shares, I should actually be putting a higher number than the current price. So maybe something like 1600. There we go. So now it showed up, and the reason I think IB didn't accept the previous order was because the price was a little bit too far off the current price. But anyways, so now what you'll see is that since we're selling 5 shares here, and this may or may not go through, the risk manager actually adjusted our stop order back to 10 shares. So the idea here is that since we know that those 5 shares may or may not go through, we don't want to accidentally leave this at 15 shares, because if this executes but this doesn't, then we'll be at a position where we have no shares, but we have an order for to sell 5, and then we might actually go short if this limit order happens to execute. So what the risk manager does, it automatically adjusts our position to kind of make our position zero if if all other orders execute, because they're kind of assumed to execute at some point in the future. And then if we cancel this order, then this number will be adjusted back to 15. So now I'd like to demo some more advanced. Okay, so that does it for that demo. I guess right now we'll start taking questions, and I'll try to answer them, and then we will. I'll see if I can get that FinViz video to work. If it doesn't work, I'll go ahead and do some manual mini demos. So yeah, so we'll do that, and it'll be out of market, so you won't see the orders execute, but at least you'll see them on the at least you'll see them working. Okay. So let me pull up this slide then. Okay. Yeah, so feel free to ask questions. And then I guess once I take a few questions, I'll try to get the FinViz back up and running.
Hey, Alex, it's Dave. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. Would it be easier if I read out some questions to you here?
Yeah, so I saw some questions in the chat. So do you want to read them out, and then I'll
Sure. We'll do
okay.
that for the recording. So, hi,
Okay.
Ivan. Ivan says, hi, Alex. Can APM continually pull the signal files for real-time trading, or is it limited to the granularity of the scheduler, which I think is 1 minute, for use case if I can't use the Alera API?
Right. So right now, if you can't use the API, the scheduler would be limited to 1 minute. So generally, depending on how you're generating signals, you should be able to get them through your API. Yes, so the API is kind of the main feature for if you want to do day trading or quick trading, or much quicker trading than 1 minute. Yeah.
So it's a more event-based type of connection, right? It's an event-based kind of scheduler.
Right. So the scheduling part is supposed to be yeah, you schedule it. That's not necessarily meant for instantaneous updates. If you need that, then I highly recommend using the API. I think there's a lot of tools for using that, and I mean, we can discuss that if you're interested in how you go about using the API.
Right. So this is one of those situations where if you have a specific use case, guys, you might want to reach out to Alex and he can help you work through that. Or even reach out to us because we implement strategies as well. Okay, so Joseph says, do you have an expected timeline for futures availability? Any plans for option availability?
Uh, no timeline as of now. I would say that our uh, next major feature to tackle would be along those lines. But right now, we don't have a timeline. For those. We're more focused on getting FX and crypto out right now, and expanding on some more minor features for that, and then we'll move on to things like futures and options.
Right. So for those that maybe aren't aware, right now the Alera Portfolio Manager's claim to fame is really portfolio level stock trading, and you guys are expanding currently into crypto and forex, as I understand it. What is the release date for that, Alex?
So we don't have a specific release date. It's going to be out as soon as it's done, but it should be out within the next 2 weeks. everything finished. We're just hashing out a few details, but we'll have that out very soon. So just for some more context, so the FX trading is done through Interactive Brokers as well. Right now for crypto trading, we have Binance US integrated, and hopefully we will have some more brokers soon for that. For crypto trading, we'd be interested to hear what kind of brokers you are interested in using, so that we can focus on those APIs. Since I know that for crypto, there's many more brokers than there are there's a lot of brokers, so people have their own preferences, and we would like to hear what you prefer. But right now, Binance US is our main broker for crypto.
That's awesome, Alex. I might have to start trading some crypto myself because I know I was really attracted to it for the portfolio level trading of stocks. Speaking of which countries do you support? Which countries does the software support for stock trading? So I know we've got the U.S. market, which is a given.
Right. So Australian market, Indian market. We added the UK market recently, but it's not like there are some more things we need to add to it, but overall it's mostly integrated. If you're interested in trading any of those markets, I recommend you try it on paper trading, and then you can move on to real trading.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's important to note too is, guys, for anyone who's considering using this software, always spend some time paper trading so that you know that things are working as you would expect. Because you can get glitches in your code or things you don't expect from the broker. So, I mean, when I started using it, I paper traded for at least a couple of weeks just so that I knew what to expect. Okay.
And also, hold on, yeah. To add on to that, in terms of countries, if you're interested in some market that we don't cover, just let us know. We'll be happy to look into integrating it. It shouldn't be too difficult. We've gone to integrate the most the larger markets, just so there's less hiccups and less weird things that happen with those markets. So it just, but let us know, and we can look into adding more markets that you're interested in.
That's awesome. Thanks, Alex. So Marcel says, I have 5 different accounts at IB, all accessible from a master account. Would it be feasible to run a number of different AmiBroker systems with those 5 different accounts?
Yes, that should be doable. So AmiBroker can be run, yes, so you can connect different instances of Alera to those different accounts. Yeah, and then you can run a different AmiBroker instance through each instance of Alera, and then that'll generate your signals and be tradable through 5 accounts.
Yeah, and I think what some of the members, what some of our members at SIG have been doing is just generating them on a shared Google Drive folder so that you can access them from any one of those instances. You don't have to generate, multiple signals for every instance. You can just access them, similar to what we do at Systematic Investors Group, where we share the strategies with our members. If you had 10 instances, you would just grab it all from the same folder, and we only have to generate the signals once. So that is something that we can help walk you through, Marcel. If you're interested in doing something like that, it's definitely doable. Okay, so Joseph says, hi, Joseph. Any limitations for number of Alera instances running at one time? For example, when trading in multiple accounts on the same computer?
Yeah, so no limitations on that end.
Alex, are there any limitations for the number of IB instances, IB gateway? Do you know of?
Not as far as I know. I know that some clients run like 5 different IB gateways. There shouldn't be any problem as long as you run them on different port numbers. But like you'll notice that when you set up IB gateway, you'll be able to change the port numbers, and as long as you change that, any number is fine.
And I know some members from our community, I won't call them out directly, but I think they're running about 7 right now, 5 to 7. So I know, from guys that I've been talking to, that it's definitely doable. So Marcel says, I think I see the answer for my next question on the page here. I'd be curious to see how AmiBroker is integrated with APM. Alex, do you mind running just that quick 2.5-minute video? Maybe
Oh, right.
that might give a little bit of insight for Marcel. And I'll let Alex plug us. But we have a course available for integrating AmiBroker specifically using Alera Portfolio
Yeah,
Manager.
give me 1 second to
Sure.
grab that video. But you can ask the next question while I
Okay, so let's see here. So Jim C says, does Alera pass through contingency orders immediately or monitor until time of event? Example, sell at 10% gain or 8% loss. So in the so that would be in the position manager. Um, do they pass the contingency orders immediately, or does it monitor it?
So it's monitored, so it doesn't go instantly. It's monitored. So right now it runs every 10 seconds, so it's almost instant, but it is not instantaneously changing. And as you saw in the demo, it took a few seconds for it to update.
Right, and that's under position management there, Jim, so you can see it in the
Yes.
top right corner.
Okay. Do you want me to run the AmiBroker
Yeah,
for them?
is your
Sure.
sound going through? You might just want to make it big.
Right. Yeah. I'll zoom in here. Ooh,
Have
the
you ever
quality is
wondered
a
how
little bit
easy it
off.
is to automate a
There we
trading
go.
strategy, either fully automate or semi-automate? Well, I'm going to show you how easy it is. So here I've got a couple of strategies. I've got a MACD strategy and I've got an RSI2 strategy. And it's all set up. I'm just going to go ahead and run the strategy and generate the signals. You can see here it opens up AmiBroker, but AmiBroker could be any signal generating program that I can link into with Alera Portfolio Manager. And it's just going to generate the sell signals first, and then it's going to proceed to generate the buy signals. So we're completing the sell signals now, and now we're generating the buy signals. And that's it. Our signals are generated for the day based on our RSI2 strategy setup. So now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and run the strategy, and it's going to process all of the orders that we just generated. This can be set up automatically, or I can force it in semi-automated mode as I just showed. And if we look at the log, we can see all of the orders that are just being generated here. We're at about 49%. It's just going to go through and keep doing this until we hit 100%. Now we just finished processing the orders. So what we're going to do is just take a look at our portfolio here. You can see that we have some orders that are in the market, and we have some orders that are rather these orders on the bottom are in the market, and we're bidding on our limit orders. And these orders here from up to number 9 or so are orders that have already been executed. And that's it. It's simply that easy to generate signals and to trade on a daily basis using the Alera Portfolio Manager along with AmiBroker to generate the signals.
That's the entire video, Dave, right? It's what you wanted to show. Yep.
So Marcel, that was, thanks for that, Alex.
Yep.
So that was just a kind of a quick overview. That was a promo video that I cut for the trading and investing for AmiBroker course. That shows you how to integrate, AmiBroker with some usage examples and some usage code, and you can generate your signals, and you can integrate. It basically shows you how to integrate everything with AmiBroker into Alera Portfolio Manager. So that course will do that for you. Hang on a second, I just have to admit someone. Okay, so if you have any other follow-up questions, just post them in the chat and we'll get to them, guys. So let's see. Where did we leave off? Let's see, we answered your question, Joseph. Any limitations? Okay, Marcel, we answered that. So Jim says, so we answered that as well. Joseph says, is there any way to customize the Alera emails? A few ideas for the email report would be to show NAV, year-to-date P&L percentage, month-to-date P&L percentage, etc. So Joseph, are you asking if Alex can upgrade the emails, or do you want the ability to actually customize them yourself? Maybe you could just post that. Oh, both. Okay.
Uh, yeah. So we could we don't have that capability yet. We can definitely add it if there's interest in terms of seeing more stats and choosing what you want to see. We haven't gotten there yet, but it would be something we can definitely do if you're interested in that.
So do you have plans, Alex, to allow people to customize some of the things they want to see in there?
Yeah, like I said, if there's interest for it, it's something we can definitely do. Yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
Well, I know when you say that, you really mean it, because some of I remember there was a client who wanted the London Stock Exchange, and I think within 2 days you had it implemented. So these guys don't mess around when it comes to development, and that's why we asked Alex to come and share with us tonight, because there's so many things, like I don't even know how half of the API works. So there's things that I'm learning as well as we go along, and I've been involved, since beta testing the software. So the level of development, guys, has been through the roof. And if there's things that make sense, Alex and his team are more than willing to implement, the things that most people want, and that are feasible. Okay, so let's see. Jim says, thanks. Thank you, Jim. Joseph says, could you explain why or when someone who already generates signals in Python would use Alera versus a custom Python solution? I almost purchased a custom Python solution to do most of what Alera does, but didn't understand the pros and cons of each.
Okay, so I guess one main thing is that a lot of traders will change strategies over time. I don't think they will find better strategies. They might want to change it. If you get a custom Python solution, you may yeah you may want to change it. You might not be able to change it. With Alera, it's made to integrate any strategy you want. So yeah, I mean, there's so many things you can do with it that I think with a custom Python solution, it might be kind of fixed to one strategy, which you can't really keep doing. And I also would think that this custom Python solution might not do everything Alera does, or it might do some things differently. I think the way Alera does things is very, it's set up so that it doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't accidentally buy positions that you don't need, and it really does keep in line with your portfolio.
And if I could just add to that, Alex, guys, I can tell you from experience, we've had some clients that have automated some of their own stuff. And some of the feedback that we've gotten from them is, it took them a long time to do it. And then one of the things that they don't want to continually do is have to keep updating, when the broker makes changes, when the API has changes, they don't want to keep maintaining it. So it's one thing to be a super great programmer and be able to deal with the broker complexity. I personally didn't want to learn the broker complexity, so APM was a godsend for me. But if I did have the skills, the challenge that I would be facing down the road is, okay, now that one day the broker has changed something with the API, or they've changed, they're changing things all the time. Now I've got to actually keep that updated. I've got to keep up to date with all the changes. Whereas if you can offload that, if you think of it kind of like outsourcing, Alex has a team of people that he works with that can keep on top of that. The other issue is, even though you can get a custom solution, you don't necessarily have the ability to integrate multiple strategies, and especially portfolio level strategies, so that they don't conflict with each other, and that you can pull signals from multiple providers. Like, for example, somebody might want to be pulling signals from Systematic Investors Group. You might like one or two of our strategies. You might have one or two custom strategies, and you might have a strategy. I know there's another strategy partner coming on board that's going to be providing some other strategies as well. You might like some of their strategies. So being able to integrate all that stuff yourself, I think would be, a real challenge, to say the least. So having a company like Alex's company that's focused on development going forward with this is just, I don't think you can really compete with that with a custom API in the long run. So I hope that answers your question, Joseph. So Joseph says, hey, Dave, do you trade with multi-charts too? I learned easy language in the past, and I do have a seat. I do have a copy of multi-charts. I may actually come back to using it at some point for some intraday strategies. So that's something we're going to be playing around with now that there's an event-based API in Alera Portfolio Manager. Okay, so Ivan says, any timeline for the support of CFDs, Alex?
I would say for now, we do not have a timeline for them, but we are looking into it, and I guess we'll definitely let you know because you had showed interest before in those. So when we get a closer look and we can decide on a timeline for them, we'll definitely let you know.
Great. So Joseph says, thanks. Great point about the broker API updates, Dave. That's a huge value proposition for Alera. Yeah, I would tend to agree, Joseph. I would absolutely agree with that. Aside from, I don't think people really understand. I've been following the development, and I don't think people really understand. They look at a lot of like, oh, the Forex market has all of these automated strategies that you can use from MetaTrader and things like that. I mean, you're comparing, when you look at things like that, you're comparing apples and oranges, because I know the capabilities of what Alera Portfolio Manager can do are just head and shoulders above in terms of being able to, manage multiple strategies, portfolio level. I mean, it would really take like a month of understanding all the intricacies to understand how it's so differentiated from what else is available in the market. Okay, so Jim C says, I'm interested in family group multi IB accounts. Okay, so example, wife, myself, private corporation. Do I need multi entity membership or cover under one family ID? Now, Jim, I'm not sure. Maybe you can answer that, Alex. I'm not sure if you're referring to your actual IB setup, or if you're referring to how you would sort of exploit that with the Alera Portfolio Manager. Maybe if you.
I think Marcel made a comment after that just about how he has a master account set up. So
Okay.
I would think that I think that IB you can make all your trades from the master account.
Oh, like,
Yeah.
and it mirrors them? Is that
Uh, I'm not exactly sure, but we can definitely look into that as well for you if you're interested in that.
okay? So let me just hang on. Okay, Joseph says, thanks, Dave. You're welcome, Joseph, and thanks for your feedback. So Jim says, let's see, I have something like that set up, a family group of accounts at IB, 2 accounts for me and 3 for my wife. Oh, your wife gets more, eh? That's awesome. And then I can trade them from a master account rather than logging into each account separately. Talk to them to see what they can set up for you. Oh, okay. I understand. Yes, you absolutely, when you set up an IB account, you definitely do have a master account, and then you can have sub accounts. So my family has something very similar to that. Now, now I understand exactly what you're saying. And you can actually run multi-currency accounts and things of that nature in IB. Now, I've only accessed that through TWS, so I don't know how that. I think the way that relates to Alera Portfolio Manager is you would need a separate instance for each one of those sub accounts. Is that correct, Alex? If you
Uh,
wanted to trade each one
yeah,
of those
that's the
sub
way we
accounts.
have it set up correct right now. I'm not quite sure if you can use the master account directly. Yeah, like I said, we can definitely take a look into that. But for now, definitely the sub account idea is an option where you can run each sub account separately.
Yeah, because I think most of my automated trading right now is taking place in a sub account. There was a master account set up, and then I set up a number of sub accounts, and one of the sub accounts was specifically for auto trading. So I know you can definitely trade the sub accounts. The master account, um, I'm not sure about either. Okay, so Jim C says, thanks, Marcel. Uh, Need for discount from Alera for multi-account scenario. Um, okay, I mean, we won't get into that today, but maybe that's something the guys can look at. So Marcel says, I keep my RSP at Scotia Trade, mainly for trading small dollar shares on the Canadian market for cheaper commissions. If I want to buy 100,000 shares on IB, the commission is too expensive. Okay, Marcel, I think that depends on what type of commission structure I know IB has a number of different commission structures. Like for small numbers of shares, I know it's much more economical with IB, but there is another, like you can opt into different commission structures. So you may want to have a look at that. I use IB for a couple of different things. Some of them I just run like balanced portfolios, and some I do auto trading. So I know it definitely has advantages and disadvantages for certain things. But in the instance that you're mentioning, I'm sure you're correct, but you might just want to check into the fact that they do offer different commission structures for different traders. So that might help you get around that a little bit. Okay, guys, are there any other questions related to maybe some of the technical aspects of Alera Portfolio Manager, or maybe even some general use cases that you have in mind? So Alex says, can you explain how licenses work? Is it per computer or per active instance?
It is per account, so per IB account as of now.
So as of now, it's per IB account.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the license, guys, is actually tied to the IB account that you're going to use so that it can get permissioned, if that makes sense. Okay. So Marcel says, I did, but IB doesn't max out at 5 or 10 commission like Scotia Trade. It maxes at 0.5% or something like that. You might want to check into that again, Marcel. I think they do flat fee and you know, a certain number of pennies per share. So I think that might have changed recently, and I could be wrong. But if you've looked into it, I'll take your word for it. I know you. I know you're a smart guy. Okay. Okay, gang. Let's leave the chat room open for a couple of minutes and just type in any questions that you might have. And then we'll sort of move on from there. So Jim says, IB offers algos that minimize price deterioration in buy-sell portfolio. Does Alera access these? So let me read that again so I can understand it. So IB offers algos that minimize price deterioration in buy-sell portfolio. Does Alera access these?
So yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. I haven't actually used it, but there is the option. So in IB Gateway, when you set up your settings, you can actually choose to use the algo or not, and that's just automatically done with your orders. You don't have to do anything. So if you have it set up in IB, Alera will use it when it places the orders. That's like a broker side thing. So
Right.
it's regardless of what you use to place the orders.
I see. And do you know if that's advantageous or not, Alex? I mean, I know that you're not, you're not an IB rep, but do you have any experience with that? Do you know if it's advantageous or?
I think, from my experience, we saw a couple of days ago, or even in the demo I did, I think that was actually a result of the IB algo that it actually didn't accept my order because the limit price was really far from the actual price.
Right, because
So
you put it in at 1,300 and it
right,
was trading much
at
higher.
1,500, yeah. So that could have been a result of the IB algo because I actually haven't seen that behavior before. So I'm not 100% sure, but I would definitely take a look into it. But we can definitely use it. So if you want it enabled, you enable it yourself and it'll be used.
Maybe because we're on this topic, you can just explain the basic concept of the protected orders, because I know you have something called protected orders.
Oh, right. So yes, we also have built-in here protected orders. So here, this protect market orders. So this actually uses in IB, at least in other brokers, it's a little bit different. But in IB has a snap REL order, which basically it acts as a limit order just around the current market price. So by a certain percent. So if you enable protect market orders, you can set a percent, like 1% here, and then the most you'll lose is 1% on the market price. So in case it's not very liquid, you won't lose that much money.
Right, so it'll convert the market order to a limit order so that you don't get like massive slippage if you've
Right,
got.
but it's actually not a limit order in IB. It has its own order type.
I see.
But
But it
but
sort
it's
of acts
basically a
like a
limit
limit
order.
order?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Yeah. So if you've got a really wide bid-ask spread, or if you've got, like low liquidity, it'll make sure you just don't get executed at, at a really crazy price. That sounds great. Oh, wow. Okay. We got a bunch of things come through. Okay. So Marcel says, I wonder if I would have to rent 5 licenses for my 5 accounts, or could it all be covered under one license for my master account?
Right. Right now, unless you can access all those 5 accounts through your master account, then you would have to go and use separate accounts for each of your separate licenses for each of your accounts. Um, we're we're always trying to improve the pricing model, or the license model rather, and we're looking at making it easier for people who have lots of accounts to trade smaller values at a more affordable cost, I guess, with more licenses.
Right. And that's not something, I don't think that's something that we'll really discuss today. This is more, there will be follow-ups, guys, but this is more a presentation just to cover off on, what you can technically do with the software. And then there will be some follow-up with things outside of that. So, and you can always reach out to Alex as well, at the email address. Alex, if you just pull up that screen again so people can have access to your email
Yes,
address.
yes,
Yeah,
sure.
you can reach out to Alex directly as well, specifically with your use cases, including like the number of licenses and things like that. It might be easier to discuss on a one-on-one basis. So Todd says, "Hi Todd, Alex, does Alera allow for different types of stop order signals from AmiBroker, like trailing stop, or is it limited to the percentage stop method you showed in the Alera settings?" Do you want me to
Uh,
take that one, Alex?
well, I got it. 'Cause I can just show you right here. So we actually have two options, so stop and trail. So we do have trail as well. Only for IB. Other brokers in crypto, for example, don't support it. But IB from AmiBroker definitely supports trail. So we have stop and trail orders.
Yeah. And from an AmiBroker perspective, typically what I do when I generate my signals is I calculate everything, like they're all end of day strategies that I develop, Todd. So what you can do is you can use time-based exits, because AmiBroker maintains, it knows the state of how long a signal has been generated for. So you can actually use time-based exits, and as well, you can calculate those things at the end of the day and for execution the next day. So technically you can use those type of stops. They would just need to be implemented in your code, and they would need to be calculated for execution at the end of the day, or for calculation at the end of the day, and for execution the next day typically. So the answer is, yeah, there's a couple ways of doing it. One is through the Alera interface, through the position manager. Is that what it's called, Alex? The position manager?
So I call it the risk manager
Risk
in terms
manager.
of, yes, but the UI, it's labeled position management because that whole section deals with that kind of stuff. But the risk manager is generally the stop and the target orders.
Okay, so it'll handle it through, thank you for that. It'll handle it through the risk manager, and you can do it programmatically through your AmiBroker, or whatever other signal generation software you're using. So that's so hopefully that answers your question. Ivan says, Jim says, great. Okay. Ivan says, yes, I have found the algo can stuff up order placement, so I turned it off. Okay. You're referring to the IB that we were discussing earlier. Um, okay. So Marcel says, I can trade all 5 accounts from my master account. Okay. So what you would want to do is just maybe test that out, or maybe shoot Alex an email, and maybe his team can have a look at that, and look at it in a little bit more detail, just to make sure. Joseph says, Alex, excellent work creating Alera. I totally agree with that, Joseph. This software is a game changer for individual traders. You took the words right out of my mouth, Joseph. A lot of people just don't really understand how, like this is a real quantum leap for retail traders. I mean, you're basically, I'm just going to kind of feed off of what you said. This is what Alex is doing, and what Alex's team is doing with Alera Portfolio Manager is like institutional quality tools for retail level traders, and at a super affordable cost. Because if you wanted to do this, you'd spend tens of thousands, if not more, dollars, having somebody implement this stuff for you. So being able to do this, as a do-it-yourself retail trader and investor, we basically, Alera Portfolio Manager, and Alex and his team's work has leveled the playing field for us. So I call it, like we're able to now sort of compete with the bigger algos out there, and to be able to do the things that we need to do to be successful as systematic traders. Because, I was a systematic trader before I came across Alera, but I just couldn't execute. So without being able to execute consistently, you're dead in the water. You're just not going to do it if you're not able to be consistent and constant. Like a lot of people, like in the systematic investors group community, we're trying to convince people that, you need tools like this because, a lot of people just have one strategy, and that every strategy is going to have a drawdown at some point. But you really, in order to be consistently profitable in the markets, you need to have like 2 to 5, 6, 7 strategies running that take advantage of different market conditions, but you need to be able to execute them consistently. So if you truly want to be risk diversified and opportunity diversified, you really need to consistently exploit your edges in 2 to 7 strategies. I've got 2 running now, and my goal in the next year is to have 5 running. I know like my colleague Dan has at least 5 running. He's been doing this for like 7 years. He switched all of his stuff over to Alera Portfolio Manager because he didn't want to have to maintain custom code, and because it did everything that his stuff did and more, right? So, we're trying to, through our educational programs, we're trying to let retail traders understand this. Because even when I was starting out as a systematic trader and investor, I looked at it and said, well, all I need is one strategy. Well, it's kind of like when I used to trade 1 or 2 stocks, I would hang my hat on the results of that every single day. So if you have a strategy that's in a drawdown, and all strategies will experience some type of drawdown at some point, you're just going to destroy your confidence. You really need to be risk diversified and strategy diversified. Okay, especially strategies that complement each other.
Yeah, thanks, Joseph, for your comments.
Okay, so sorry, I went off on a bit of a tangent there, guys.
Yeah, no worries.
How are we doing for time? So we're about an hour and a half in. We've still got 20 people online, so you're obviously still interested in being with us. So we'll keep going as long as you guys have questions. So Marcel says, can this work for some trading friends that I know that have to be at work but still want to trade the market open? Can they set it up to run the evening before?
Yeah, you can set it up to run anytime you want. You can set it up at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 1 a.m. Doesn't really matter. As long as your signals are there, Alera can place the orders. IB has a few rules. For example, you can't place market on open orders when the market, like the day before during the market. So you have to place them after the market's closed. Another rule would be you can't place market on close orders when the market, like after the market closes for the next day. So rules like that in IB kind of prevent you from doing certain things, but most stuff that makes sense, like placing market on open orders the day before, after the market closes, is very doable, like you asked.
Yep, absolutely. So let me just add to that, Marcel, because as Jim said, thanks, Dave and Alex, tangent is okay. Let me go on a bit more of a tangent. So right now I'm generating all my signals from Systematic Investors Group because I'm putting all my strategies there. But when I'm running for example, AmiBroker, I can set up Alera Portfolio Manager to make sure that Norgate data updater has updated the data. And then I can make sure that it's updated my database in AmiBroker, it's generated my signals, and then it processes my signals every single day for multiple strategies. So the only thing that I really need to check on is to make sure that, my computer didn't, go down. So if I'm really concerned about that, I'll put it in the cloud, right, with an AWS instance, like an EC2 instance with Amazon cloud computing. Or the other thing that I just check, it literally takes me about 30 seconds. I come to my computer when I wake up, first thing in the morning, like 7:30, and I just make sure that my computer didn't boot down and that Alera Portfolio Manager is still connected to IB Gateway. Because the biggest problem is that IB Gateway at times, when they go through development cycles and stuff, they'll just disconnect you from IB Gateway. Alera will actually force the reconnection at certain times, but sometimes it'll just go down. So I just, I just make sure it's closed. I open it up. It takes me about 30 seconds just to open up IB Gateway again. And I log in and I just click start so that Alera Portfolio Manager is connected, and then I walk away. So I do that every morning. Like right now, my daughter's in tennis camp. I do that before I drive her to her tennis camp and just make sure it's up and running. It takes me 30 seconds. So I usually say, hey guys, it takes from 0 to 15 minutes to run your own strategy. It literally takes me 30 seconds a day. So I spend most of my time developing strategies and stuff like that, not in looking like managing them. Although, like I like looking at markets, so I'll look to see, okay, well, what strategies, like what signals is it generating? Let me look at a few charts. Kind of want to keep my pulse on, my technical analysis sort of outlook in the market. But honestly, for systematic strategies, it really takes like no time to manage them. And Alera Portfolio Manager can reach out to all your ancillary programs and make sure your workflow is intact, depending on where you generate your signals. Okay, so sorry, I went off a bit on a tangent there. So Todd says, I see, okay. Great, thanks, you're welcome, Todd. Jim C says, thanks, and you're welcome. Marcel says, it looks like some really good work that you guys are doing. I expect that you'll be quite successful at it. Thanks, Marcel. Like, I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, we both thank you. We'll be successful at it if we can get you guys, to adopt it. I know you, Marcel. I know what, some of the work you do. I don't know why you're not using this, man. I think you really need to take a hard look at this. Like if you look at the first link that Alex has up there, one of the things that if you follow that link there on Systematic Investors Group website, slash APM dash integration, you can download a paper trading instance of Alera Portfolio Manager, and you can access two of our strategies, the RSI2 and the supercharged momentum trend. They're both portfolio based, and over the last 3 or 4 weeks, we came out with strategy sessions that explained exactly what the rules are for the strategies, but you can access those in a paper trading account, and you can see what your own setup would look like to get a feel for how it works without having any risk. So what I'd suggest is maybe, taking half an hour to watch the video that walks you through the whole setup, and just set it up on your computer and see if you like it. I'm pretty sure it'll change your view of systematic trading like it's changed mine. So, have a look at that, Marcel. I think you'll really appreciate what it can do for your trading. Ivan says, fantastic stuff, guys. I've been using for a few weeks and I'm very happy with it. Thank you, Ivan. I'm happy to hear how your progress goes. Ivan is a member of our community, so we appreciate that, Ivan. And Ivan says, I take signals from SIG in Canada, execute in Australia, and place orders with IB in USA, and it works well. See, we've made you global, Ivan. We've made you global, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Ivan. Yeah.
Okay, so, okay, guys, are there any other questions, guys?
Dave, if anyone wants to stick around, I can also try to finish that video if people are interested on the screener from FinViz. If people want to take a look, I think I got it running again. If I didn't,
absolutely.
Yeah, if people are interested.
Yeah, I think it's a worthy inclusion because the screener functionality is really cool.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll keep that playing. It should be unmuted. Okay. Yeah. And then there should be 6 more minutes or 7 minutes here. Okay. App instead. And then what actually happens for these is that there's actually 2 different stocks in the top 10 and the last one. So what we expect is a 2 stock change. So I'll copy this again, and I will go back and replace this with a new one. We'll save. We'll click save, and then we'll run order preview, and then we'll see that actually in this case, what we have is we have 2 positions we want to sell. So these are the ones that were removed out of the screener, and then 2 that we want to buy now. So the 2 that actually are in the screener now, or are in the top 10 rather. So we can close that, run it, and then we'll see that 2 of our positions here change. There you go. And we can go back into our log here. And And we can see that these two orders went through to IB to close the position, and that two orders here, one order went in to open the position, and another one also went in to open the new position. Okay, so this was a demo of the rotational strategy. One thing you might want to also be interested in is not necessarily rotating stocks when they fall out of the top 10, but rather rotating stocks when they completely fall out of the screener. And you might be interested in doing that because if you're rotating pretty frequently, or if stocks move around rankings pretty frequently, you might make a lot of trades that you don't necessarily want to make because your screener might generally be good and the ranking doesn't matter that much. So what you could do is you could actually switch this selection mode from keep only first to prioritize first. And what this does is that it actually it tries to take the top 10, but it doesn't sell stocks unless they fall completely out of the screener. So in this case, since our screener didn't change, and if we were to run order preview, we would actually expect to see no orders because nothing moved. But even if we go to the other screener that I demoed first, and we go here, we put it back. So the one that's sorted by the dividend yield, we actually won't see a difference either because it's the same set of stocks. Even though they're in different orders and two of them are actually not on the top 10 that were before, overall there's actually no change. So as we can see, there's no orders. Okay, and now next I want to talk about a different kind of application for the screener. So generally, sometimes you may have strategies that have different buy and sell thresholds. So for example, an RSI-based strategy like the one that Dave demoed 2 weeks ago, which is based on the RSI threshold. So either going below a certain value or above a certain value. So actually for this example, I decided to use 40 as the minimum threshold. So if RSI goes below 40, we want to buy the stock. And if it goes above 70, we want to sell it. In this example, just so we have enough positions here. So what this tells us is that the two screeners actually have two different thresholds. So you can't use one screener for this. You actually have to use two different screeners. So this screener here that you're seeing right now is telling us what positions to buy, and this one is telling us what positions to sell. So we can actually handle that using this dual screener. So a dual screener basically tells us that we want to hold certain positions and sell the other ones. Only when they enter the sell set of tickers, and we only want to buy when they enter the buy ones. But if you don't see a ticker in the sell set of tickers, you're not going to automatically sell it. You're going to hold it until it appears in the sell set of tickers. So let's go demo that. So this is the one we want to buy right here. So let's go put that in the buy URL. And this is the one we want to sell. So let's stick that here. And then we're going to click save. So in this case, there's only 5 positions. So if we run order preview, we're going to see that there's 5 positions that it wants to buy here. And we'll see that it's the first 5 that we see here. So let's take a refresh this page because I think that it actually slightly changed since the last time that I had this open. Yeah, so there you go. So the first five. And actually that kind of shows you that it actually does change. Some of these can actually change pretty quickly over time. So that's a good sign. So you can use the same URL and it kind of updates over time, of course, to allow you to do your rotational strategies. So anyways, back to topic. So here are the 5 it wants to buy. And if we check out the logs, so what we'll actually see is that so it says webscreener.stc. So these are the ones we want to, so STC means sell to close. So these are the tickers here we want to sell. So there's 46 of them, as we can see here. There's 46. I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of small, but there's 46 in the sell URL over there. And then there's 6 we want to buy. And we set our strategy here to only take the top 5. So that's why you see those top 5 there. And then, yeah, so that's why you only see the top, so that's why you see 6 here, but there's 5 orders. And then we can also click run here, and then that will go and buy those positions. There you go. So yeah, that's kind of the idea behind this. And yeah, so this lets you do a rotational strategy that has 2 kind of different thresholds for entry and for exit, and it's relatively simple. And beyond that, I kind of want to also emphasize that this requires on your part to use absolutely no programming. If you can find a strategy you like on Finviz, for example, where you can set the parameters to buy and sell certain stocks, you can easily copy paste those URLs into Alera and run it. And that's great, especially if you want to go test it out, see how certain things work. You can quickly go and do that, as I've done here. And as you can see, some of these rankings actually change pretty quickly over time. So it does let you go and kind of you can even possibly view kind of real-time changes in the screener and see how those kind of affect the positions. But that's the main idea behind the screener, and it can be used for a lot of things. I've only done with Finviz, but you can also do it from files and even from other sources, like I'll demo later from Google Drive. And that's kind of another way to actually implement your signals, which is relatively simple, but it's very powerful. I can do a lot of things as I've shown you. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So that was the screener video. I just wanted to show that just in case anyone was interested in finishing that video, since I thought it's kind of nice to show that you can trade a large number of signals there.
Good stuff, Alex. I love it. Okay, guys. Are there any other questions? Okay, I can see we've had just a few people drop off. I mean, Alex could show you different stuff all night, guys. There's a lot of stuff that we can do. So if there's no other technical questions or anything else, I think what we'll do is maybe just give you another minute to think of any questions. And if not, you can always email Alex to talk about your specific use case. And for those out there, I see a couple of you guys online that are potential signal providers. You may want to reach out as well, just to talk about how you could make that happen if you're interested. And let's see. So Joseph says, very cool Finviz functionality. Sid says, thanks, Alex and Dave. Great info. Thank you, guys. So Alex, if you want, I can just kind of take over and wrap it up.
Yeah, sure.
I don't see any other questions coming through. So let me take us home here. Okay. All right. So, okay, guys. So in closing, I want to thank Alex very much for joining us tonight for that awesome presentation on an awesome piece of trading automation software that has helped us as do-it-yourself individual investors so much. It's really helped us so much.
Yeah.
So I
Thank
know
you for
that
having me, Dave.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're more than welcome. And I hope to have you again in the near future as well. And maybe we could make this a regular thing as you go through the development cycle, and we can keep giving people updates, because it looks like a lot of people enjoyed it. So so that would be great. So I know that I personally can't live without APM anymore for my own systematic trading and investing. There were some others online, like Mark, that mentioned they've been using it for months with great success. I know Joseph has been testing it. Some of the other guys have been using it, Fez. So feel free to reach out to Alex with any software use case questions that you might have at alex.reita@aleratrading.com. Also, again, feel free to try out some ready-made portfolio level strategies from Systematic Investors Group that were designed to work with Alera Portfolio Manager. I'm pretty confident that testing out the software with some real strategies, risk-free, and a paper trading account will convince you how incredible this all is for do-it-yourself retail traders and investors seeking to become consistent, profitable, and systematic. Specifically, Marcel, I'd suggest, just give it a shot. And if you want, we can get on a call and I could show you how it all works as well. You can also reach out with any questions to us as well at Systematic Investors Group. The best email to use is systematicinvestors@gmail.com. I'd also like to encourage you to share this video once you get the recording with your trading friends. They may not be aware that such a great automation platform exists, because it doesn't really exist anywhere else. Contrary to what people think, it really doesn't. This is it. So that you can so they may not be aware that such great automation platform exists that can put the edges of systematic trading gods in their favor, as well as give them a technical advantage over most other traders that aren't being systematic and automated. It really is a huge advantage, guys. Like I mentioned earlier, it's like having an institutional quality trading desk working for you as an individual do-it-yourself trader. So again, thanks for attending. You could have been anywhere tonight, but you chose to spend it with us, and for that, we thank you. So good systematic trading and investing, all the best, and good night. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, gang, you're welcome. So I'm going to stop the recording here.